Kate, a couple of emphatic wins recently, 5-1 away to Falkirk, 6-1 against Dundee West. Can you talk about how the team's form is at the minute?
Yeah, I think we're doing well just now. It's some of the stuff that we've been planning for and we've been working towards. So we've looked at being able to be more clinical in our finishing. Because we've always been creating loads of chances. It's just getting that final clinical finish. So I think those two games really demonstrated that. And also as well as the goals coming from different areas in the team, which I think is important as well, rather than just relying on the forwards to score all the time. So goals coming from across the team, it really gives the players a lift, it makes training easier, they're more excited about being here, and it's just constantly developing them that way.
Help moving up the league as well?
It is. Our aim was, we had obviously quite a tough season after coming back from the pandemic and the closures, so really this year was about starting to get ourselves back up there and make the top six, but also now that we're in the top six is actually how much of a move up we can do within that. So each week's been good, we've moved up each week, and it's just about keeping that going and keeping the consistency going.
How much do you feel the belief has maybe grown, and you mentioned that, trying to keep that consistency going? How much do you think that the girls believe they can do that?
I think one of the challenges we have in the women's game is that is keeping consistently the same team week in, week out, and that same group of players working together and really getting to know each other and knowing what runs you're going to make and knowing what passes and how each player really works in their style of play, and we've really worked with that, of players really learning what the strengths that each player brings in the squad and then using them in games to deliver on that. So I think that's definitely shown. The communication has massively improved as well, because people are getting so used to consistency of playing with each other week in, week out, so that's been good for us as well.
How much growth do you think there's been within this squad over the last year?
Actually, it's quite interesting, because people ask me that they've had a huge amount of growth, but actually sometimes I feel we're actually just at the beginning as well with them, because for a lot of the players, when you've been out for 18 months in a pandemic and then you're really coming back effectively from a long-term injury, and that's how we treated the players. Okay, they had been training and stuff like that, but playing competitively when you hadn't done for 18 months, so we had to really look at the players as saying, let's get them back, let's get them fit, strengthened, and they've worked really hard at the club to do that, and then that's obviously now where we can then start to progress that. So actually I feel as if we're actually at the beginning of what we can do with the squad, albeit that there's been a massive improvement, and we have consistently grown over the season, and I think surprised a few people as well, but yeah, definitely good results for us.
There was the news about Kibble's sponsorship agreement. The club's agreed to match that as well. How important has that been?
I think I've always said that that's been massive, and I don't think it's just about the money, and we did have that when we were having conversations with Kibble and obviously with the club itself, was saying it's more than just simply money. It's about the stability, it's about the investment, it's about the recognition of where we're getting, and actually really starting to allow us the time and effort, rather than living kind of a hand to mouth every single month and every single year, of having that consistency where now we can actually look at, okay, we've got that and it can pay for all the training facilities, so actually where can we go now? And also as well as I think it sends a really strong message about investing in women and girls football. And I know that we've had interest from businesses on the back of that, because now they see the club and Kibble investing in us, and they then see, well, there's clearly a product there that needs to be developed. So.
And help your long-term ambitions with the team?
Yeah, since I've came to the club, we've always said that we had, I've always been honest with the club and said it's a real long-term. I've always had a long-term vision of where we want to be and what we want to do, and it's about getting up there and being in that Premier League. And we have that ambition. We want to be in the SPL 1, but that takes time and effort, and it takes building a programme initially that then means that we create that legacy and we create long-term success, rather than 1 year we're doing really well and the next year we're struggling and we're just up and down a lot. So we've spent a lot of time really working on the structure off the pitch, what we do with the players, and then it's really learning to have that winning way. And then what we can do is you can just then progress that across each of the leagues as we move up. So yeah, definitely developing all the time. Being
International Women's Day, what would your message be for that?
I think in terms of International Women's Day, I think the game has grown rapidly. I think there's more and more women getting involved. I think here at St Mirren we are very fortunate. We have quite a lot of women who work across at all levels within the actual club and at different parts of the club, and I think that's important. I think we bring a different context to things that we do, and I think sometimes we need that in football where you've got that freshness all the time, but I think it's also encouraging more women and girls to get in and to know that they can have careers in football and that they've got a real good opportunity to have careers here and to develop themselves, and they've got something worthwhile coming to us. So I definitely look at us having more women in the sport, and we actively promote that. We've got some of our players are now down going through their coaching because we want them to do that, but we also want to look at people doing all of the jobs within. I don't think it should just be about playing football. I think you have to want to look at a value across the whole game that we can bring.